good thing has to come to an end, whether it's a cherished moment with our friends or eventually our lives. But where do we go from there? The end can indicate many different things, whether it's defeating the final boss in a video game or the stopping of the heart in medical terms. And usually, we as humans consider death to be the end. However, I have a different thought. Hello everyone, my name is Zhen Grace, and I would like to share my thoughts on what the end truly means to me. Ever since I was young, I hated departure. Whether it was a short business flight to another country or the finale of my favorite cartoon. Whenever I knew that time was running short or something was going to end soon, I would throw tantrums. I remember this one time my dad was leaving to another country for a business trip. I was crying nonstop, begging him to either take me with him or for him to just not go. But then he said something that still stayed with me till this day. He said, "What would you do when me and your mother gets old and pass away?" I stood there trying to process his words. And since then, I began wondering, what is death? And what is the real meaning of the end? Which led me to this belief. I believe that people die twice. And when I say this, it is not because, in some rare cases, people's hearts stop beating but are then rescued, medically known as the return of spontaneous circulation, or what we call revival. I say this because I believe that people die the first time when their hearts stop beating, and the second, when their name is being mentioned for the last time. That, to me, is when a person truly disappears. And yet, even in that end, humanity has always found a way to keep love alive. Many cultures and religions differ, but one thing they all share in common is the fact that every religion and culture has their own way of mourning death. There are many ways to do this, whether it's through a ritual or a common practice. For example, in Chinese culture, every 4th of April, families gather together to mourn and pass on their good wishes to the deceased by burning paper money. Or in Mexican culture, there's a vibrant celebration where families welcome back the souls of their departed loved ones with offerings. It's beautiful how, no matter where we all come from, we all find ways to keep the people we love alive through memories. But what if we could do more than just remember? I was once given a scenario, and I want everyone here to think about it with me. Imagine in front of you is a button. And when you press the button, your deceased loved one will be able to come back to you. And I want to emphasize, loved one, meaning only one person. Would you do it? I mean, I certainly would, and you might too, right? Because it's our loved ones, of course we would want them back by our side. But at the same time, because it's our loved ones, we'd have to think carefully. Would someone who died painfully from a terminal illness be able to come back healthy? Or would someone who died of old age be able to return strong and youthful? No, none of these factors are mentioned. All of the presented scenarios assume the best possible outcome. It's your loved one. Press the button and they'll be back your side. The most tempting offers are not those given by God, but challenges set by the devil himself. Is the question really asking you whether you want to revive your loved ones? No. It is asking you whether you're able to accept the emptiness left by their departure. The more a person wants to live, the more they fear death. But what happens when death comes twice? When you're bringing them back, you're not saving them. You're trapping them. One short moment of companion, only to lose them again. The button you press isn't a blessing, but a curse. Because neither of you will ever learn how to let go. And I know that now I may have revived one person that I loved. But in doing so, I lost all the others I cherished equally, but did not choose to revive. I thought I was fighting against the end. But in truth, I was the one creating it. And it reminded me of something I once saw in an anime. A story that reminded me that the end isn't always about death, but about transformation, where one chapter gently closes so that another can finally begin. Is anyone here familiar with the anime One Piece? If so, you must know Dr. Hilleruk. He spent his whole life trying to recreate an imaginary vision from his head, a pink snowfall. Everyone around him called him crazy, said it was impossible. But right before his death, he made it happen and showed the whole world. During his last moments, he told Chopper that getting shot in the chest isn't the end, and having a terminal illness isn't the end, but being forgotten is the real end. And that same idea of memories being stronger than death appears in many different stories. Take, for example, the movie Coco. You might or might not know the cheerful Mexican boy, Miguel, who is in love with music. But the inspiring part is when he gets to the death and realizes that his great-grandfather, Hector, was slowly disappearing because he was being forgotten by the living world. This is what they call the final death. It's when the last person who remembers eventually forgets. But thankfully, Miguel was able to save his great-grandfather by reigniting the moments Hector had shared by singing a song. Truly an emotional movie that reminds us that the people who you've loved dearly but have left you have not truly reached their end because they have once lived in your heart and created effects just like the pink snowfall. And that message isn't just something from a movie or a story, but something I've come to understand deeply in my own life. I'm from China, and most of my relatives are still there. My aunts, uncles, grandmother. In fact, I would visit them at least once per year. But a few years back, due to studies and other reasons, I couldn't go visit them. But it was also that same year that my grandfather had passed away. When I received the message over the phone, I was in shock because just a week ago, I had been video calling him. He looked well. He even laughed, sharing little jokes as he always did. The kind that would make the whole room light up, even through just a screen. But life doesn't always give us warning. And that day reminded me of just how fragile time truly is. I didn't cry at first. I told myself to keep studying, to finish what I was doing. I kept repeating small tasks on and on, trying to convince myself that nothing had changed. But later that night, as the world grew quiet and my thoughts filled every corner of my mind, it hit me all at once. My grandfather was gone. The man who'd secretly slip me extra pocket money when no one was looking. The man who'd keep boxes and boxes of candies in his drawers just for me. The man who'd always ask, when I'd be home again. He was gone. I could still see him clearly in the back of my mind, smiling, calling me over, telling me his stories. All the quiet moments that now felt so precious. And suddenly, all of those memories came crashing down. It felt unbearably heavy, like carrying a weight I wasn't ready for. For a few weeks, maybe even longer, I was down. I was upset. I was demotivated to do anything, as if time itself had froze on the day he left. But as time passed, I realized something. My grandfather may not be here physically, but every memory he gave me still lives inside me. When I remember his smile, his laugh, or the way he called me over with a grin, I bring him back to life. Just like Miguel did for Hector, and the pink snowfall that lived on after Dr. Hillerich death. And that's when I finally realized that the end isn't really the end. It only comes when the people we love are forgotten. As long as we speak their names, remember them, and continue to love them, we keep them alive. Though their bodies might be gone, but their love and influence remain woven into our lives. Mourning isn't about forgetting, but about continuing to love even after lost. So as we think of those who have left us, let's carry them forward, not only through sorrow, but through memory, kindness, and love. And that's how we keep them alive and give death a meaning that brings comfort and hope. Perhaps death isn't something to fear, but something to honor. A gentle reminder to live in ways worth remembering. Lastly, as time slowly but surely slips from our hand, let's cherish the ones here now and honor the ones who have gone ahead. Thank you all for so.